You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 147. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jordan Andrews.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out this show, plus several other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Superhero Speak at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoy this show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
So here we go with Adventure Comics number 275.
Yes, this is some more Silver Age Aquaman. All of these stories are reprinted in Showcase Presents Aquaman Volume 1. And yes, what is it? The Interplanetary Mission from Adventure Comics number 275. Written by Robert Bernstein, with art by Ramona Fradon. Now, I remember really enjoying this story.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It had sort of a Twilight Zone
Yes.
feel to it. I love those. My mom got me all of the Blu-rays of the Twilight Zone for Christmas.
Is it 4 or 5 seasons?
5 seasons.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all of them except for season 4, I think. But it's all
you
good.
Will.
Yeah. But I just love watching them over and over again. But this one has a real Twilight Zone feel to it.
Yeah?
Even though, it's Aquaman.
Yeah. Well, and this is contemporary with the Twilight Zone, so...
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Ooh, context. So, anyway.
So we have the splash page with Aquaman fighting some... This art is really great in this one. I think that's part of what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Is the fish are sort of supposed to be out of this world, and they really look... out of this world.
Yeah.
Giant crabs and funky spiked eels. It's crazy. But we start out completely separate from this interplanetary mission.
Yeah.
Aquaman and Aqualad are towing with whales animals in wooden cages that are kind of just floating out in the middle of the ocean. I guess the freighter that was carrying them broke up in a storm, and they're all just kind of floating here.
Okay.
So Aquaman gets some whales, some rope, pulls them along, but then his UFO shows up. And then for the rest of the issue, we don't hear about the zoo animals or the whales or what happened.
It was just a thing they were doing.
It was just a way to get them to the UFOs, I guess.
Okay.
Plot device. So the UFO shows up.
Well, they got to be doing something.
Right.
Aquaman and Aqualad were just standing around, not doing anything.
Yeah.
They got to be doing something. So.
Right. But this UFO comes, splashes down in the ocean, and then these funky alien-looking guys solicit Aquaman's help to retrieve a satellite from...
Is it solicit or illicit? Wordsmiths, get back to us. Anyway.
So that they have this satellite that's very important to their ecosystem, but it crashed in the ocean.
Uh-huh.
The problem with these aliens is they can't survive in salt water.
Right.
So that seems a little fishy, but we'll go with it. Oh no, I'm starting to use Aquaman puns. I think I'm reading too much of these.
Yeah, very well could be true.
So Aquaman and Aqualad decide to go with them and help him out.
Yeah.
But they have to... they get in this tank of water to help sustain them for their long voyage, however long it's going to be.
Right.
And then Aquaman and Aqualad get knocked out in this big fish tank. So they come to on this foreign planet, and they start to dive and notice all these crazy fish that are beautifully drawn by Ramona Fradon.
Yay!
Giant crabs. And some of the verbiage here is really interesting.
Oh?
We won't get to that. I mean...
We can.
Aqualad says, we're lucky he's not molesting us.
Different context different time.
So
we think of that...
as some serious sexual assault.
Well, right, but molesting now is shorthand for sexual molestation these days.
Right.
But
Back
molesting can mean...
totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. So it's great. I love reading these old things because you get lessons in context. Also, the stories are wacky and fun and awesome.
Yes.
But then you also get context into the historical,
Right,
the times.
Words have different meanings or word meanings can change or what it means in a specific period. So yeah.
And that's
I remember watching the Flintstones. We'll have a gay old time. What?
Right.
But gay is just like we're having a great, happy time.
Yeah.
Like we're having fun.
And in one of these, I forget which one it is, but in one of these, either from last podcast or from this one,
yeah,
Aqualad calls somebody a boner.
Or something. When you make a goof.
Yeah.
You made a boner.
Yeah, that was just a boner.
Yeah.
It's like...
We don't say that anymore.
No, that's not something that happens.
Right.
So it's just, I love that. That's great.
It's definitely interesting.
So they dive down and find this satellite, but lo and behold, it doesn't look like a satellite. It looks like a meteor.
Right.
So they're wondering what's up with that. They surface onto the ship. They pull the aliens pull the meteor up. Aquaman and Aqualad surface, get onto the ship, and then Aquaman just starts boxing people. He just starts punching out aliens.
Yeah.
And this is cool for us, but Aqualad's like, what is going on? And as Aquaman knocks out the last guy, he's like, we're still on Earth. Boo, boo, boo. So then what's happening? And then we have the whole...
It's so satisfying to see Aquaman punching guys. Because usually... What have I said? He just pawns his duties off on others instead of doing the real work.
He gets his fish to bake a cake for him, and he's just sitting back there on his lazy boy. I'm just hanging out. You, make me a taco.
Fish tacos.
Oh, cannibalism.
But no, he's not a fish.
Right, I know, but like he has the fish make him fish tacos. That's some messed up
the fish
stuff.
aren't eating the fish tacos.
Yeah, but they're making them.
That doesn't make them cannibals.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess if you get the shark to make the fish taco, that makes sense.
I can't believe we're having this conversation. There's the villain, the shark, who was a Green Lantern villain, not an Aquaman villain. Isn't that weird?
Weird.
Yeah. Although I bet Aquaman's fought him.
He has to.
But anyway.
His name is the Shark.
Come on, right?
I know. Oh, in a couple podcasts ago, we had him fight a guy whose nickname was the Shark. Right. It was just a one-off.
Or was it Shark Shelton or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the Green Lantern guy, so I'm sure,
No, it's definitely not the Green Lantern villain.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Aquaman comes up cracking skulls, and after all of the bad guys have been dispatched, he lets Aqualad in on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrecks this electronic panel on the boat, and all of a sudden, all of those strange fish surface. And Aquaman says, they're robots, man. So it's starting to dawn on Aqualad, all this stuff. And then, we get to today's installment of Unnecessary Confession or Plot Device. And
maybe both.
Yeah, maybe both. So this guy, this unnamed crony number one, we'll call him, says, you win, Aquaman, I'll confess. And he goes into this elaborately detailed scheme where these guys were producing...
Those are the best kinds of schemes.
It is. And it works so well with this one, I think.
Yeah.
Because these guys are producing a sci-fi movie.
Ah.
So they're producing this sci-fi movie. They've got all these costumes, all these crazy robots. And they find kryptonite.
Oh,
which is what that meteor is.
Right,
so they find this kryptonite. They're like, we got to hide it. We got to use this, sell it on the black market for tons of money. So they come up with this elaborate thing that only a sci-fi writer could do, where they're aliens and they're kidnapping Aquaman, and that's just so wild.
Was it just
I love it.
They used him to get the kryptonite for him?
To get the kryptonite off the bottom, because it fell. They found the kryptonite,
but they couldn't get deep enough.
But they couldn't get deep enough. They didn't. They
couldn't use the robots.
Probably not.
Could probably, yeah, okay.
They had the giant crab, but the depth may have crushed it.
Okay.
They're still having trouble building submarines that go super low because the depth from the water will crush it.
That's pretty cool, though.
It is. It's pretty sweet. So they get Aquaman to do it, and then they were like, well, we were going to kill you after you brought it up, but you started knocking us out.
Right.
We had no way to know. So...
Because I think in maybe other stories we've read where he goes to another planet, and he's not able to control the sea creatures on other worlds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which, I don't know why he wouldn't be able to.
Right.
But, yeah.
Maybe they have different proteins.
So the fact that if they were robots, he couldn't control it either.
Right. So he was like, we can't control these. So they were thinking, we're on another planet. But they were just robots.
Right.
They were still on Earth.
Okay.
So they ask Aquaman how he knew the plot was a hoax. Oh, and that was the thing, is when they were in the alien ship, I'm doing air quotes for those of you listening, the alien ship, they showed them out the window Earth and the moon,
right?
But it was like a slide
right.
that they put in front of the window, and Aquaman was like, your slide was all messed up, guys, the distances were off and everything. So
I've been to outer space.
Yeah, he said whoever had prepared the 3D picture had goofed because the space has no atmosphere. Right. And so it should be black. Completely absence of light and all that. But the background in their 3D slide was blue.
Oh, so that was what clued him in?
I guess.
Okay.
That's what he says.
All right.
So then Aquaman sinks the kryptonite into the deepest parts of the ocean and scene.
Okay. So the next story we have is The Aqua Thief of the Seven Seas. From Adventure Comics number 276. This is also written by Robert Bernstein, with art by Ramona Fradon.
Also, yeah. And the splash page for this one is delightful. It's Aquaman pouting on this rock. Yeah. Right up against the ocean, and all of his little sea creature friends are like consoling him. The octopus has a tentacle around his shoulder, and they have speech bubbles. Right. They say, we believe you, Aquaman. You're not a criminal. You're a stand-up swell guy. All of these 60s fish just like I love it. I love it. It's great. Okay. So then we get background. Yeah. So there's this King Tai who is obviously of Asian descent. Okay. They kind of hit it hard on this one. Uh-huh. But he's the ruler of a fictional country called Timtu.
Here's the thing. In DC, it's almost always fictional cities and countries. Yeah. So.
In Marvel, you get some real ones, right?
Mostly real ones.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But so this foreign nation Timtu, we learn, has an overly elaborate birthday custom.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As foreign nations do, you know. If you're a foreign nation, you gotta have an overly elaborate birthday custom. Sure. But it's where the kids each year get a specific kind of jewel. Yeah. That is, they get their weight in that specific kind of jewel to add to their bank account or whatever.
Wow. Man, sure beats my bar mitzvah, which I didn't have because I'm not Jewish, but
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this ruler's kid is turning 2. 2 years old, so they weigh him on the royal scales. Right. And I guess his first birthday last year they got pearls. His weight in pearls. Okay. This year it's his weight in diamonds. Next year it'll be his weight in rubies. Okay. So they weigh the kid, give him that many diamonds. Right. Put it in a chest. And then give the chest to the kid. Right. So this 2-year-old kid, I've got an almost 2-year-old kid. Yeah. He's pretty buff.
Archie.
Yeah, Archie. He's great. He can lift stuff. Sure. Archie Andrews. Even.
Yes, Archie Andrews. Yes, comic book fans, that's a real thing. There's a real Archie Andrews in the world.
So they give this kid a chest, which is already pretty heavy. Mm-hmm. But then, with enough diamonds to be as heavy as the kid. Right. I don't know any kid that can lift their own weight in anything, let alone their own weight mixed with, like, the chest that it comes in.
Yeah. No.
So, as we soon learn, things go awry. The kid drops the chest. Right. It's like, if this is an overly elaborate birthday custom that's been happening for generations...
You would think this problem would be recurring.
You don't think that would have already happened and maybe you learn from it? Uh-huh. But they don't. The kid dumps the whole load in the ocean and nobody knows what to do. So they call Aquaman. Yeah. And they say, hey, come fish our crap out of the ocean. our birthday diamonds out of the ocean. So then he says, well, there's a pirate submarine off the coast of wherever doing some dirty business. And then we've got these jewels that we have to go find. Aqualad, I'll get the jewels. You go take care of the pirates.
Exactly. That's what I said always. Like,
Aquaman always does the cushy jobs.
Yeah.
And then he sends everybody else to do the tough stuff. So Aqualad's like, all right, I'll go peace out and take care of the pirate submarine.
Yeah.
You go do your thing with the diamonds and the cushy foreign dignitaries. So they do. And Aqualad takes care of the pirate something fierce, which is pretty cool.
And this is before he even gets a name. He's just Aqualad.
Aqualad, yep.
You know, it's before he's even called Garth.
Yep. Which is a sweet name.
Is it?
I like Garth.
Okay.
As far as 60s names go, at least he's not a woman named Dale.
Okay.
Anyway, so Aquaman goes and looks for these diamonds, comes up empty-handed. And these people who are like desperately looking for them, hiring Aquaman, says, okay, you stole them.
Okay.
Like, how much sense does that make? Oh, please help us find these diamonds. I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't find them. No, you stole them.
What? Yeah,
like,
something is
accusing. There's something fishy going on here.
Yes.
Which we learn.
Yeah.
And we don't know these people's names. Oh, wait, we do. So there's this guy named Vuda, who is an advisor to the king, I guess.
Okay.
And he's working with some girl.
Yeah.
Oh, the babysitter.
Right.
He's working with the babysitter for the 2-year-old kid.
Right.
And they're trying to steal the diamonds. And so they were the ones that dropped it into the ocean, and they stole them. And the girl is saying, I stuffed him somewhere. Where did she stuff him?
Okay.
They stuff him somewhere. And the girl tells Vuda where she stuffed him.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, we'll grab him later and go.
Yeah.
So right now they're just, they have the diamonds insured.
Yeah.
So they're just going to talk to the insurance company about it. And Aquaman's like, well, I just can't find him. But he kind of tails the people and realizes, hey, something's up. They stole him. So he swims away to an iceberg, gets these swordfish, again, to poke at the iceberg,
right,
to knock off ice chips that he plays off as diamonds, which people then believe. Because ice looks like diamonds.
I mean, sometimes in slang you refer to diamonds as
ice.
But
I don't think that literally.
Yeah, we all saw Batman and Robin, you know.
Ugh. Some of us wish we hadn't.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so they get fooled.
Yeah.
By the ice that Aquaman says is diamonds. And they're like, okay, I thought you threw them overboard. She says, I did. But then I hid them in the prince's toy chest. The girl says that.
Right.
So then Vuda is like, okay, I'm abandoning ship. I'm going to go find the prince's chest. I'm going to take all of these for myself. And this girl that was helping me isn't going to get anything.
Right.
So he jumps overboard, but then as he jumps overboard, says, I can't swim. But I've got this life preserver that I'll cling onto in the middle of the ocean, and somehow I'll make land.
No, you won't.
So I'll take plans that aren't thought through for $500, Alex. So the guy starts drowning in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
Shocker. But then it's because the life preserver was full of diamonds.
Oh!
So he's like, this is going to help me because it's buoyant, but it's full of diamonds, so it loses its buoyancy.
So
he sinks.
So it was the guy and the babysitter were trying to steal the diamonds.
The guy and the babysitter were trying to steal the diamonds.
Yeah.
The babysitter says, I stuffed him in the prince's chest, but she was lying. The guy says, oh, I'm going to take him for myself. So he goes to find the prince's chest, but the diamonds ended up being in the life preserver. So she was lying. She had him in the life preserver, not the chest.
Yes.
Aquaman's got them all. He's got the diamonds. He's got the culprits. Case closed.
Dun, 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 dun. So the next story we've got is The Underwater Olympics from Adventure Comics number 277. Robert Bernstein wrote this, and art again by Ramona Fradon.
This one is great because
Is it?
Well, as far as super hokey stories go, this one's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
There's kind of a villain, sort of, but all he does in this story is kind of heckle Aquaman. Because this is I think the Olympics happened in 1960.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, this is an Olympics, the Underwater Olympics is the name of the thing. So.
Right.
There's the Olympics going on, and Aquaman and Aqualad see humpback whales, Pacific humpback whales racing Atlantic humpback whales.
Oh, cool.
Not really sure they're different species, but.
I have no idea.
So. Aquaman and Aqualad decide to do sort of an East versus West situation and go through a series of events with fish from the Atlantic and fish from the Pacific. And they use Topo's tentacle, kind of like how you do the baseball bat where you do hand over hand and you get to the top, whoever's there wins. They did that with one of the tentacles from Topo.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And Aquaman wins and decides that they're going to hold them in the Atlantic Ocean. And Aquaman is going to be the Atlantic side, and Aqualad is going to be the Pacific side. Mm-hmm. And they're going to compete in a series of Olympic-like events. And then the only villain is Bart Horval, the robber baron of salvage operations. And all he does the whole time is say things like, "I'd love to see Aqualad's Pacific team win." Like, he just shouts that at Aquaman.
Is he trying to steal something while this is going on?
He isn't. It doesn't even indicate that at all.
Why even have him at all?
He's just there to get Aquaman's goat, I guess.
Man, his aqua goat.
His aqua goat. So they compete in a pretty great series of events like swordfish fencing. But my favorite one has got to be the underwater boxing.
Okay.
Because it's got Topo.
Yeah.
With 8 tentacles with boxing gloves on them.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then it's got this big walrus just knocking the crap out of
Topo.
A
walrus.
I just love the art in that
boxing
frame.
Walrus.
It's just so wonderful. It's just great.
I've never seen a walrus in real life.
I have seen sea lions. That's as close as I get.
But with the tusks and everything, I've never seen them.
Yeah, no.
So.
But you get to see one box in this. That's pretty great.
Wow, I know, right?
It's totally worth it. It's awesome.
Okay.
But then they compete in other events like, what is it? Flying fish hurdles. Mm-hmm. And then how quickly they can put out a fire on a ship.
Okay.
With whales, that kind of thing. Then they play water polo with sea lions.
Yeah.
Or seals. I don't know. Either one. And then, so they just compete in all these different events, and they kind of go back and forth. Aquaman wins one, Aqualad wins one.
So, this might sound dumb, but sea lions aren't feline, are they?
No.
Okay.
They are like otters and seals, and they're kind of that.
Okay. That's right, I actually asked that stupid-ass question.
That's okay. There's room for them.
Oh, thank you.
So they do underwater tug of war, and like I said, it goes back and forth. And you never really know.
This is such a vain display.
It really is.
Okay.
It's just kind of a for fun. Maybe that was what the writers were thinking too. Let's just have fun with this one. What if we did Underwater Olympics?
Sure.
So finally they do this race.
Uh-huh.
Where it's neck and neck. All of a sudden, Aquaman could have taken a shortcut, but didn't. And Aqualad ends up winning the whole thing. And Aqualad's like, well, that was off. Maybe he just wasn't thinking, the heat of the moment. Then it turns out that there was another rock of kryptonite.
Yeah.
Hidden in the seabed among the seaweed.
Okay.
And Aquaman wasn't going to take the shortcut through the seaweed.
Okay.
Because that Baron Horvath guy was watching him the whole time.
That's actually a great name.
It is.
Baron Horvath.
Yeah.
But
he's thinking, if he sees me take this shortcut, he's going to see the rock, and then he's going to take it later.
Right.
So Baron Horvath doesn't know the kryptonite's there. Aquaman can safely dispose of it, and Aqualad's self-esteem gets a huge boost. And that's
it?
That's really the story.
Wow. What a waste of my time. I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah. No. I didn't really care for it that much.
Yeah.
That one.
But, we've read some fun stories for this episode and these last couple.
Yeah.
Let's talk about okay, this story is crazy.
This one I really like this one.
Do you?
Yeah.
And this is called Aqualad Goes to School. It's from Adventure Comics number 278. Don't know who wrote this. It could have been Robert Bernstein. It could have been The Ghost of Christmas Past. We don't know. But Ramona Fradon did the art. And this is crazy story.
It's just... So I think it was the first issue of the Showcase Presents, we talked about Aquaman, how he went to school occasionally.
Yeah.
And would just sit there and name fish.
I think it was one of the earliest stories we read in this volume, yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, that's great, you can name all these fish. And
how is that applicable to real life?
Right, how is that important?
Right.
So I was thinking it would be kind of more of the same with Aqualad,
yeah.
But they actually ask him multidisciplinary questions.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, this is cool. But Aquaman and Aqualad are just swimming along, and Aquaman says, hey, you're going to go to school. And Aqualad says, Jeepers, that sounds like fun.
Does he really say Jeepers?
No, he doesn't say Jeepers. He says, I'd love to go to school, Aquaman, but what about my sea duties? And Aquaman says, you'll do that after school. So they make him do an entrance exam, essentially.
Right.
And so Aqualad studies and studies and studies for this entrance exam.
In elementary school? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really say what grade he's trying to go into.
Right.
But it says we can't assign him to a class until we know the scope of his knowledge.
Right. That makes sense, because he hadn't been to school.
Right. So he just studies and studies and studies.
Yeah.
And feels really good about it. His teacher gives him a pre-test. He passes with flying colors. And the next day, he gets knocked on the head by a boat. Loses all of his memory, all of that studying, right down the tubes.
Dang it.
So Aqualad and Aquaman go to the principal and say, hey, can we get an extension on this test? Because he just got hit in the head by a ship.
And they say no.
And the principal's like, no, you can't.
But you can't. There's no leeway for the King of the Seven Seas and his super sidekick.
Maybe they don't want to seem like they crumble under pressure from the superhero guys.
Or they don't want to favor them, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
These are weird questions
but the principal
to think
says,
about. But
all I know is the boy may be unprepared and pretending so that he can spend more time to prepare for the pretest.
Right.
Yeah, so instead of like, okay, well, we'll take what we get, Aquaman comes up with elaborate ways to help Aqualad cheat on the test.
Yeah. What a great moral lesson this is teaching.
But I mean, it's a philosophical it's an ethical conundrum.
Yes.
If you study hard and you know that you're going to do great, but then something terrible happens,
then it's okay to cheat?
Then is it okay to cheat, dear reader?
That's saying the ends justify the means.
In this situation, perhaps. It could be all relative. It could not be all relative.
My brain.
I know, this is that Aquaman asks the tough questions.
Does he?
No.
Apparently.
Not really. Not really. But it's still fun to think about.
Okay.
So, all these different ways that Aquaman helps Aqualad cheat by, I don't know. He has dolphins tear up like some drifting wood into like a geographical representation of Italy.
Okay.
To answer one of the questions. And Aqualad looks out the window and says, oh, that looks like Italy. That must be the answer.
Right.
And then she asks how many keys are in a standard piano.
88.
And Aquaman surfaces 2 octopus, 8 arms plus 8 arms.
Makes 16.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Like, oh, 16 keys. Nope, wrong. But he gets it. It's 88.
Right.
So then one of the questions is what famous piece or what famous portrait is hanging in the Louvre. Obviously, the Mona Lisa.
But there's a lot of them.
There are, but that's the most recognizable one.
Yeah.
And Aquaman gets his fish friends to tear up the figurehead from a frigate that sunk, and then borders it with electric eels, kind of like a neon sign of.
Our listeners can't see me shaking my head, but that's what I'm doing.
It's the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
So then he passes the test with flying colors. Nobody knows that Aquaman helped him cheat. Not even Aqualad, really. Because, I mean, he looks out there. It's kind of like that Slumdog Millionaire movie. Did you ever see that one?
I didn't see that.
Okay. So, it's good. You should watch it.
Okay.
But it's like this kid is in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
I know that part.
All of the questions, like...
make him think back of his crappy childhood.
Right. And that gives him the answers to the questions.
Okay, but he's drawing from his own knowledge, experience.
Right.
This is Aquaman is
but it's,
coaching him through the test.
It's kind of the same because he knew all of the
Only
answers.
it's completely different.
Sure. Okay.
But
he gets into the class.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy. And nobody is any the wiser except for Aquaman, who's twisting his mustache in victory.
If he had one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Aquaman did have a twirly mustache?
Well, he had a crazy beard. Like super long hair and a crazy beard for a time.
That's a terrible time for Aquaman, but yeah. And the hook hand. Ugh.
Oh, the hook hand is terrible. The worst stories in Aquaman were written with the hook hand.
It's a bad time. And like that's a lot of people's that's the Aquaman they know because they watched, Justice League. This
is why people don't like Aquaman.
Really? I mean, they made him more BA, but he was a jerk on that show. He wasn't like
well, that's the thing.
At least you watch the old 60s cartoons or you want Superman's, at least Aquaman's nice.
Right.
And he's a team player.
And the thing is, everybody in the 60s and earlier, they were kind of hokey. Sure. Even Superman, Batman, they were hokey. And people still remember Aquaman as that, even though everybody was back then. But that's because they kind of skipped forward to the hook hand, and it's like, this is not better.
Right.
Superman,
Batman, they're trying to do something.
Green Lantern, they get better over time.
What blows my mind is Aquaman had his own series, his own animated show, and not Wonder Woman or The Flash or Green Lantern. Really?
I don't know.
I mean, to me, he is below those other ones. I mean, I get that Superman and Batman they're no-brainers, but really,
I like Aquaman.
I do too. I'm not trying to say I don't like Aquaman.
Sure.
And it's an interesting concept. A lot of under the sea, fun. That makes a good cartoon. But Green Lantern going on to space and doing stuff that's even better.
Yeah.
Or Flash and all of his cool rogues gallery. They're that are totally better than Batman's villains. I'm sorry. But
yeah. No.
I don't know. Just things to think about. Metamorpho almost got his own cartoon.
Really?
Yeah, but it didn't happen. But it was really close. But anyway, I think that's going to be our show for.
That's it. Now. That's what we have.
Yeah.
Oh, except.
Oh.
One of the questions is where news comes from. The word news, world news.
Yeah.
North, east, west, south.
Yeah.
I learned that
on compasses
through this comic. I learned that. That was one of the questions on the.
I learned that through Jeff and I read a Golden Age Superman story a couple months ago, and that came up in that, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Because knowledge is power.
Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah. The more you know, CBS cares.
Do they?
Probably not, but that's
the more you know was CBS. I thought it was the NBC.
CBS cares is CBS. NBC, the more you know is NBC.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Maybe it's 80. God, I don't even know anymore.
I'm mixing my metaphors.
Those aren't metaphors.
Streams are getting crossed.
Streams are getting crossed. That's not metaphors, though.
I know. It's an expression. Just like streams getting crossed.
But phrases do have meanings.
Sometimes.
All the time. I'm going to end the show awkwardly.